Chicago at San Francisco. Let's talk about that. Sunday at 4:25. It's the other feature game. Is this the feature game? Is this more featured than Bills-Rams? There's only 3 games in that window.
Yeah.
You don't care.
No.
Bears-Niners. Niners by 3.5. They're 5-7. Bears 4-8.
Well, now with
to prepare for this, I'm going to watch some mid-'80s Bears-Niners matchups.
Okay. With the millstone of Eberflus free from around the necks of the Chicago Bears, will they actually be able to win one of these close games that they keep coming back in?
This is, we got the interim OC bump a couple weeks ago. Now you get the interim head coach bump.
At some point, they need to figure out what is the lever to pull to stop getting wrecked in the first half, so they need to execute these comebacks that they almost do every time in the first place. Like,
true,
bunch of teams have really run it up on them early, and then they have managed to execute the comeback. But it's like the Joe Burrow thing, right? When you're so far in a hole, you really don't give yourself any margin for error. So any mistake is basically the reason you lose the game. But really, the reason you lost the game happened in the first quarter when you were just getting destroyed. Like, the reason the Bears lost that game was not because Matt Eberflus had a meltdown. It was because for the first half, the Lions looked like a team that was in like a completely different conference than, like, they were an FBS team facing an FCS team.
Good reference.
And that was the difference. Like, that was the reason Chicago lost that game, not because they flubbed a 30-second clock management problem.
It was a miracle that they were within 2 scores.
Yeah.
After all of that mess.
That's what I'm saying.
They gave up 3 field goals and a touchdown rather than being down 30-0.
Yeah.
So that, then that's a perfect dynamic here, because you have Kyle Shanahan, who loves to get out to 10-point leads and blows those leads more than anyone else. And you have Chicago, who likes to fall behind and try to make late comebacks. Did it against Minnesota, Detroit,
so really,
Green Bay.
Everybody plays the type in this game. If San Francisco leads by double digits early and then Chicago successfully executes the comeback, and now that they don't have Eberflus, they actually get it over the line.
You also get, let's just play into the rumors and the narrative here. Kyle Shanahan's on the sideline for San Francisco. He's watching Brock Purdy and he's got a little shoulder. He's got a little shoulder ding, knows Brock Purdy's limitations. And he's watching Caleb Williams on the other side, and he's thinking, "Ooh, what could I do with that? What could I do with that?" Maybe, gets those rumors going a little bit more. Kyle wants to work with Caleb. Kyle and Caleb in Chicago start working out the deal. Start working out the trade for Kyle Shanahan to get him to Chicago. He's got firsthand sight of Caleb Williams this week.
Yeah, just another glimpse of what he could have with that dual threat quarterback that he seems to covet.
Yeah. Just saying. What else about this football game?
Well, with
San Francisco's now missing, by the way. Christian McCaffrey's out for the season.
Yeah.
What's his face? Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
What's his face?
Got hurt.
Jordan Mason out for the season. San Francisco's missing everybody.
Trent Williams still recovering, not participating. Huge part of the team.
These injury reports are wild. Every single starter on every team.
Because
the Niners, those guys are legitimately injured. I don't know who on Chicago is actually injured.
Well, the 49ers have the added problem of they appear to have been treating their injury report like a fictional story as opposed to the injury report. And so they appear to take liberties with their injury report, and Kyle Shanahan appears to be refusing to be pinned down to anything at any time. Remember, he was asked about somebody's injury way back when and was like, he could get hit by a bus tomorrow. I can't commit to anything, right? Well, asked about Nick Bosa this week, Shanahan, apparently, according to this is on 49erswebzone.com, head coach Kyle Shanahan expressed optimism that Bosa could return to action this weekend, but acknowledged the unpredictability of injury recoveries. So you're thinking, week to week. When asked if there's a chance if Bosa might not play again this season, Shanahan offered a candid response. "I'm not God, but I think he's got a chance to play this week," Shanahan said on Wednesday. So I would think that would lead to getting a better chance each week, but I don't know the answer to that. So Shanahan, while pressed about whether Nick Bosa would be playing this week, wouldn't commit to him playing at all this season, which is kind of like, early in the season when Christian McCaffrey was day to day, and then suddenly he was in Germany receiving treatment on 2 different Achilles. Everybody's hurt for the 49ers, and nobody has any idea when any of them are going to resurface.
Did you ever get to the bottom of how Fred Warner's got like a broken ankle and he hasn't been on the injury report either?
No, they just stopped putting him on the injury report after like week 5. He was on it. He fractured his foot, ankle, whatever it is, appeared in the injury report for a week or two.
Yeah,
and
he
then
got hurt in the Patriots game on that
right.
He had the pick 6.
It was week 4 that he got hurt, and then he appeared in the injury report for the next couple of weeks, and then they just stopped putting him on there. And then in week 11 or 12, whatever it was, everyone was like, look at this Iron Man. It's now his like 8th consecutive week of playing through a broken ankle. Like, wait, if he's been playing through a broken ankle, how has he not been on the injury report for the last couple of months?
I don't know those rules. When Nick Bosa's not in, I'm just checking out the PFF grades, and the 49ers too deep in the front 7. There's not a player graded over 61 this year. This is I mentioned this coming into the season. It felt like the Niners were thinner than ever on the defensive line in particular. Just depth taking a hit, and I think we're starting to see that. In addition to the stars and scrubs idea that they are very star laden, and if Deebo Samuel isn't as special as he was previously, and all the other dudes are hurt, yeah, it's going to be
It's
tough.
also, I mean, they're already down Javon Hargrave from the D-line. Like, it was already pretty thin and top-heavy, and then they lost Hargrave, so now it really was. I mean, Nick Bosa, basically on his own, was carrying that defensive line. You take him out of the line, and obviously it goes from, like, pretty good defensive line when Nick Bosa's there to now it's like Atlanta rivaling. It might be worse than Atlanta's. Like Atlanta,
Leonard Floyd's
their number one player is Matthew Judon versus Leonard Floyd. Like it's
similar. They're both good cleanup guys.
Yeah.
They're not good dominate one-on-one, but like if you have a
So it might
Bosa on the other side, you can tackle the quarterback.
It might genuinely go from like a top half pass rush to the worst pass rush in football if you take Bosa out of the lineup.
For fantasy people, it's Isaac Gendo time. 4.3 speed with size. Next man up for the Niners rushing attack. Shanahan running attack. I think that he could have some success back there as well.
Sure.
He's been looking for speed back, Shanahan, for a while. Gendo could be that guy.
He's been looking for he tends to look for the sort of physically impressive back, right? When he keeps drafting these guys that are, big, powerful, fast, and then it's actually an undrafted rookie who ends up surpassing him in the depth chart. And then obviously they traded for Christian McCaffrey, but he's sort of been looking for this type of back for a long time. It's just they haven't ever made a huge impact.
And then last thing, want to see Caleb Williams continue to play free and easy and instinctual. And I think that's been much better these last few weeks.
Yep.
Niners by 3.5 here. I haven't made a pick for this one yet. I don't like this at all.
We go with the Bears. I just think the 49ers, they're not good when they're this banged up. Like I'm kind of past the point of expecting them to be a contender because they're missing too many of the players that make them contender.
I've gone from making excuses that they were 3 plays away from being 8-2 a couple weeks ago, which was true, but they have played way worse. But
it's all still true,
but
even since then, you've taken Trent Williams out of the lineup, Nick Bosa out of the lineup, Christian McCaffrey's back out of the lineup, Mason is out of the lineup. Like even from that point, they're missing 3 or 4 of their most important players.
Okay, I'll take Chicago.
Why am I talking you into better picks?
I don't know, man, but I'll take Chicago, as will Harry.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.